Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 167 here on season 1. And today we are getting into using Stash as a savings account. Anyway, so this question comes from Brother Hill, who asked, how do you feel about using Stash as a savings account? And by the way, the wife recommended to bring in the tape measure as a microphone. I think we're running out of them, so we'll see how that continues as the episodes go. But anyways, so there's a few different ideas that I have about using Stash as a savings account. Let's go ahead and get into it real quickly. So Stash is basically used to be a long-term investment account, about 5 to 50 plus years for savings. So eventually to generate some kind of nest egg that you want to use later on in life. So in essence, it could be used as a long-term savings account in that way. So if you're like saving up for a down payment on a house and you're like, I want to, have enough to do a down payment here in 20 or 10 years or whatever, that would be a great place to go. Or, or if you're like, I want to have a big, pretty nest egg when I go to retire, that's another way, that's another route to go. Or whatever it may be, whatever you're saving for, you can use it definitely as a savings account. However, it would be definitely longer term than what most people use their savings accounts for. And the reason why there's like should I use Stash and that kind of thing is because, in all honesty, we want to have the highest return with the lowest risk. And so with a basic savings account, you're going to have a low risk account or low volatility in that account and a low reward. You're not going to get much reward. I think maybe 1% or 2% or something like that back, or even lower than that. So you're not even going to beat inflation, that in essence losing money by making money. Stash will give you a bigger return, or can give you a bigger return. However, you're going to take on a lot more risk. And by risk, I mean that the possibility of that money disappearing or losing quite a bit of that money on like a Stash or something. However, the nice thing is with Stash that they are ETFs, and so it is a basket of stocks and not just one stock, so it's less volatile than investing in specifically one stock. But it does come with its benefits and it does come with its risk as well. So this is something that I would consider when looking at Stash versus using Stash as a savings account. In a typical savings account, the money is going to be easier to transfer typically. And on my bank, I have a savings account and a checking account, and I can transfer from my savings to my checking account pretty quickly. It will do it almost automatically, basically, where transferring from Stash to a checking account is going to take a longer period of time. And then also when it comes tax season, you don't really have to pay much taxes on those investment gains that you made from a savings account. Or I don't know, I don't think I've ever paid taxes on the money that I made out of a savings account. So that's just an idea there. And plus the money is going to be more secure in the sense that it's going to be less volatile. So when you put $100 in there and you go pull it out in 3 months, you expect that there'd still be $100 in there plus maybe a little bit of interest, but it's going to be at least $100. So that's what I mean by more security, less volatility. However, Stash recently announced the fact that they are launching Stash Banking, which is going to be the banking version of Stash. So I assume that they're going to have a checking account and a savings account at least on there, so you can use Stash Banking as a form of savings account. And then I think in order to transfer from Stash Banking or your Stash savings account into a ETF is going to be a very simple and easy to use process. That's Stash's history and track record on the things. However, to recreate like Stash Invest and use Stash Invest as a savings account, and to limit the volatility, so limit the risk, what I would do is Stash, by the way, now pays interest on, totally lost and got caught up in my notes. Stash now pays interest on the Stash cash that you have in your account. So even if you're not into a bond or an ETF or whatever, you're still going to get paid a monthly dividend on the Stash cash. So it'll be like a interest-bearing checking account or savings account. And it's not really that much, but you can definitely use that as like a savings account. But if you wanted to use like Stash and invest into the ETFs and invest into different stocks and all that kind of stuff, what I would do is I would keep my portfolio 75% invested into bonds. This is going to limit a lot of volatility. Bonds are pretty much the safest. And I would recommend Uncle Sam is going to be the treasury bond. So that's what most banks use with your account to get you interest anyways, besides loaning out money at an interest rate and then paying you some of that interest. So I would look at investing into Uncle Sam and maybe park my cash, but keep it around 75%. And then also From there, then maybe take 25% of that. I would take probably 25% of that and invest it into more stable ETFs. So not like the super aggressive ETFs, the ones that are moderate maybe, or the ones that maybe might be aggressive but don't have a whole lot of volatility. And you can do that by looking at the charts and that kind of thing, or just asking on like the Stash Facebook group. So that's what I would do. But however, with setting up Stash like that, you got to understand that it's not going to be like an easy one-day transfer from Stash to your checking account. So if you're one of those people that need money quickly, it might not be a good idea. But if you're looking long-term, then I definitely could see, like, if you're like, oh, well, next year I'm going to need to save up for this trip, so it might be better for me to put it in Stash. Like, probably a pretty good idea versus using a savings account, because you might get some more interest there. But you got to understand that when you sell an ETF on Stash, it takes 3 days for those funds to get put back into your Stash account, and then from there it's probably going to take another 3 business days for them to put from Stash into your checking account. So you got to figure about 6 days in total, so about a week, maybe even more than that. It depends on when you sell and all that kind of stuff. So those are just some things to consider. I'm not personally using my Stash account as a savings account. I do have my own savings account, and I don't keep very much funds in there, just enough that, like, if I actually like had an overbill or whatever, or had something come up that was a surprise, then I could transfer money real quickly to go ahead and fulfill that like payment, say a car broke down or whatever it may be. So anyways, that's what I do. Let's go ahead and dive into the question of the day, and that is approximately how many minutes does it take you to pick out an outfit to wear? For me, it takes probably 5 minutes, as long as I can find the clothes that I'm looking for. I pretty much wear the same thing every single day. I only have probably 5 different pairs or 5 different outfits. I'm pretty minimal in that way. So that's just kind of the way I keep it. It's very easy for me. I don't like to have a whole lot of options because then it takes so much longer for me to decide. Anyways, if you guys have any questions regarding Stash, Acorns, or Robinhood, as well as general investing advice, business, Etsy, coaching, post those questions down below and I will try my best to get them on the next episode. And as always, don't forget to subscribe up here and check out silver giveaway winner announcement, buying gold on AppMax. And then check out this other video right here. And as always, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.